welcome back to another exciting season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is Agents of Non-Pro, our variously titled Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. preview and recap special show. Do I get that pretty much correct, Matt?
I think, yeah, let's go with that. That sounds good.
Sounds good for this week.
Yeah, sounds good.
On this Google Plus Hangout show, we talk a little bit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We try not to be boring. We try to be brief. We recap what's going on in the show so far and what we're excited about. It's not just a recap of scene by scene recounting of what's going on in the show, but we actually nerd out about it. It's sort of like arguing about the show at a comic shop afterwards, only hopefully less BO because comic nerds smell bad. We are maintaining still in the 21st century. Anyways, my name is Frank. I'm joined with Matt. Bye, Matt.
Hello.
Not at all in studio. And James would have been here, but he's got a living. Idiot.
This
those of you
living thing.
Yeah, or jackass. Those of you who are paying careful attention to the clock, you know that we're starting a little later than usual. But that's okay, because we're also not recounting a show that's started yet. This is our preview special for Season 2. Season 2 will come on this Tuesday, I believe at 8.
No, they moved it to 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Yes.
No more interfering with the loud idiots on a radio station and media empire network thingy. So good. All right, cool. That's awesome. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this is going to be the start of their second season. I'm pretty damn excited. I think it's been a big hit for people at the station, and it's become a bigger hit for fans. They weren't that excited by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It seemed like people had some problems with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the beginning. Did you feel the same way?
I think so too. The beginning of the season was pretty rough, and I think a lot of people, when they first tuned in initially to try it out, I think they were kind of turned off by like the rough edges of the show. But like as the season went on, episodes started getting really good, and by the end of the season, it was like something I definitely looked forward to each week. And I think after the season ended, through like on demand, I think, and also through the recent DVD and Blu-ray release of season 1, people have been watching through it and realizing how much the show has gotten better and how much fun it is now. And so I think now there's been a lot more buzz about it now that people have seen the season all the way through.
Yeah, I think it started off with a lot of like fanfare because it's a first time, or at least the first time in a long while, we had a live action comic book based television show. It was tied in so well with the Marvel Cinematic Universe theoretically. That's I'm talking about at the start. James may have just joined our call. James, hey, how you doing? What, did you get fired?
What? No.
No, we told everyone you'd had a living, and that's why you couldn't be here. Anyways,
and scoffed.
How Field may have had kind of like a lot of high hopes in the beginning, and then a lot of people read it as a full start that they were. Let's go through the major complaints that people had, and I'm not convinced that everybody who didn't like it, who decided against Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., will now like it, even though I think a lot of the problems have been solved. And to be honest, I've always been a big fan of the show, but some of the things we've heard complaints about is not enough superheroes, right? As the series goes on, the first season went on, we found a lot of guest stars. We've had Lady Sif, which was kind of cool. It tied in with Thor: The Dark World. It was kind of neat, but it didn't have like a major impact. There's I almost called him Darkseid. That's not correct. That's not even the right universe.
Deathlock.
Deathstroke is also not in the same universe. You're losing all comic cred. If I was quizzed right now by a bunch of like gatekeepers, they'd kick me out.
Yeah, you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Wow. All right, Deathlock. Yeah, everybody's favorite cyborg zombie. Who was it's cool that he was there in the beginning of the series. He's effectively the first supernatural superhero thing we saw on S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first episode, but didn't really mature into the character we know in the comics, and even arguably then till the end. Who else have we met?
I mean, not on the superpowered side, but we did see Agent Maria Hill. from Shield from the Avengers movie.
Yeah, and we got the of course Nick Fury and well, we okay, Gravitron as a villain
Hmm.
barely made an appearance, but did, and that we're getting on kind of the problem with what a lot of people had was that it was teasing that there was a bigger superhero universe out there, but I feel distinctly like towards the end of this first season, you got more than just teasing, um, which will lead to the next problem. A lot of people had a problem with the like that it's too formulaic, too CSI. There's a mystery of the week that you have to solve. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think the issue was that the big storyline for the season was kind of reliant on the release of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So
Right.
I felt like there were a couple weeks where it felt very formulaic. 'Cause they were kind of like in a holding pattern of
Right.
they can't really shake the boat too much because everything was really going to start going once we had the Hydra reveal in
Right.
Captain America.
And that's it with the Tahiti thing and Sky's parents and the not enough superheroes and the villain of the week. Those are the major complaints. All of them started uh, correcting themselves once Winter Soldier was revealed. Winter Soldier comes out, the big Hydra reveal. Suddenly, there's a lot of like Hydra is a major player in the Marvel universe, and even if we don't have Red Skull necessarily in the series, you get enough where you're feeling like I am 100% watching a weekly TV show that's Marvel.
Hmm.
And the big meta plot is revealed, the connections are revealed. And I think at this point, if you can watch season one of Agents of Shield, if you get through the entire season, the first season, you get a good idea of where the show is probably heading. And I I love it. I like the slow burn into what we have now. We're sold on it. No more necessarily talking about first season. What do we look forward in the second season?
I I'm looking forward to more of this huge universe kind of building activity. You got to remember Netflix, not Netflix. Marvel's got two shows right now that are going to be on ABC, right? Which will be, Agent Carter as well as Agents of Shield,
Right.
and premiering this year will be Daredevil on Netflix, like this coming year, like 2015. But still, while Agents of Shield is on, and since all this stuff takes place in the same universe, and since Netflix isn't technically a direct competitor to ABC, I definitely think there's going to be some crossover with that. And then, I mean, Matt will be quick to bring up the rumor mill about Triplet being in the new Avengers movie. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. I think Marvel might have not invested wholeheartedly in this. Not that they didn't invest, but that now that they're sure that they've got something that they can stick around for a while, they're throwing more of their eggs into that basket.
That's a very dangerous way of framing it, phrasing it. Oh my God, this Netflix series is going to destroy us. Yeah, no. I mean, okay, so cool thing. Daredevil has returned to Marvel slash Disney, right? Wasn't
Yep.
always a Disney property, so they're testing it out, not necessarily on ABC, but on a Netflix property. That's kind of interesting. And there's something weird going on with Agent Carter. First, give us some background on that, very quick. I know most of the people who'd be bothering to watch this will know, but it's a flashback show, right?
Well, so Agent Peggy Carter originally was, Agent Peggy Carter from Captain America 1. And then they really liked working with the actress, so they did a Marvel one-shot with her, which was just titled Agent Peggy Carter. And it was cool. It was her doing like early SHIELD work, and she was badass, and it was
World War
awesome.
II badass, yeah.
And
Forward to it.
so then, for whatever reason, they thought that this might be the way to go about doing another series. So they're doing a series that takes place back in time for Agent Peggy Carter on ABC. But they've said that it's not going to be. So everybody's like, oh, well, why are they going to do that? Then the villain's just going to be Hydra, blah, 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 blah. And they've actually said that, they won't be having Hydra be the villain because for whatever reason, there's like Hydra's not going to be the main villain in Peggy Carter series, and I don't think Hydra's going to be the villain for Shield season 2 either. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff out there that they're going to play with, so I'm excited.
Right. I mean, Hydra will probably be the moving factor in Shield. I would hope, but may not be it's just a bunch of Hydra agents over and over again. But they're doing something cool. Matt, you mentioned something about them doing something cool with when they're going to do Agent Carter.
Yes, they're actually going to start premiere Agent Carter during the winter break of Agents of Shield. So Agents of Shield is going to have their going to go until I believe like either November, December, and I think like once Shield takes its break, Agent Carter is going to I think it's running in its entirety until Agents of Shield comes back on early next year.
That's awesome. I've never heard of a series doing that, but giving you guys like doing the break as a flashback effectively is really, 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 really interesting.
I mean, to be fair, you didn't have a series do that. I feel like there aren't a lot of shows that have companion series that work like this. I mean, the only thing that I can think of really would be Buffy and Angel, and maybe now with Arrow and the Flash, the DC comics properties on TV. But prior to that, the way NCISs and the Law and Orders and all that work never worked like this. So I don't think there was really an opportunity to see a cool move like that prior to this.
And I think that's the major, that's the selling point on a Marvel TV show, right? You want the feeling of being in a shared universe. That's why this last batch of Phase 1 and Phase 2 Marvel products were so cool, is because you got the feeling that you're in a comic book universe where issues mattered and stories crossed over. And we've had comic book movies for decades, but we've never really had that. And I think that's cool that they're playing with it in this show. I want to talk briefly about DC. So DC is launching. Arrow is successful for DC, it seems. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah.
I do believe that Flash is coming out, and there's a few other rumored series that are coming out soon.
So I really like what DC's doing with television right now, and DC's got a lot of stuff on the docket, but it doesn't have some of the distinct advantages Marvel has. But here's what they got coming. So you have Arrow, which is already an existing show, which is going into its 3rd season. The guy who created Arrow also created The Flash, which is going to be a show that's airing as well on the CW, and those will sync up. They're in the same universe. Their characters connect. There's even going to be a major crossover event for the mid-series finale of the show. So that's going to be really cool. DC's got 2 other standalone properties coming out that don't exist in that same universe. We've got NBC, which is doing Hellraiser or Constantine. They're calling it. Which is interesting. I saw the pilot of both The Flash, which I really enjoyed, and then Constantine, which was a bit of a mess, but there's good stuff in there. So I'm excited as they kind of clean it up and go forward that might be good as well. Then also premiering this week specifically is Fox's Gotham. Now, Gotham is an unusual instance only because it sounds like it's going to be really good. And I say sounds like it's going to be really good.
Fox and good.
I mean sounds like it's going to be really good is that they premiered it for a bunch of television critics and all of them gave it raving reviews in the sense that they couldn't tell that it was based on a comic book property, but they said this is a show for everyone. Do not skip it just because you're, not a comic book fan. And the people over at Netflix liked it so much that they paid, I think, $250 million to have exclusive airing rights to the show. So they will be the only place to find back episodes of the show off of, say, On Demand. And they basically, with that deal, have funded the show's production for a foreseeable future. I mean, that's not a small amount of money. So
now,
Netflix...
If you're a Shield fan and you're listening to all this, you're like, what does that have to do with us? But I do think that competition, direct line competition and inspiration should help the Marvel machine as well. And I'm not just the Marvel fan, but I feel like that the more good work that the competition does, the more likely it's going to raise the bar for you. Especially if money's in this. And they could prove that there's a lot of money. They could put more money into the shows and get better product out.
Yeah, I was gonna make how long until Fox cancels the show? But if they're already this big payout, I mean, There's really no reason to cancel it if they're getting funded for that much, and considering how long that could last them. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that show's going anywhere.
Fox isn't going to have to cancel it because they barely have to pay any money for it now.
Wow.
Netflix underwrote like 3 seasons worth of production on the show, so they'll do fine. I think I'm with Frank here. I love television. I went into I studied television and did a lot of stuff with television because I think it's a superior medium to film. And you can argue me on that philosophically, but there's just such a better place to tell stories, and I think it's really neat that some of these really great characters get to tell their stories on television because you don't get to see the aspects of these things if they're just in movies, and I think that's really cool, and this shared universe thing is great. I mean, we argue that DC's got a lot of stuff coming out, but Marvel's just starting with Daredevil. They're doing, their Netflix series will also incorporate Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, not Nick Cage, Luke Cage, and a couple of other people, and then they're going to do what they did for, they're basically doing what they did for movies with Netflix by bringing them all together for a series that they're titling The Defenders. Right. So it's going to be interesting, and I don't think Marvel's going to stop there. I think the only part where Marvel falls a little bit short is now that they're owned by Disney, I don't think you won't see a connected universe Marvel show on Fox, let's say. So
there's that, and there's also
the platform.
You're unlikely to find a super dark version of anything.
I don't necessarily agree with that. And they've said so that they wouldn't be toning back the Netflix shows, and that they're taking a different look at the way they're going to handle those because of the medium they're on. And Netflix is one of Netflix things is that they have these darker, kind of grittier shows with House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. So I think they're kind of in tone with that. I think the thing we have to be more concerned about is that we're probably also not going to get more than Peggy Carter and S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC. I'm going to say for a network like ABC, I think 3 shows based on the Marvel Universe might be pushing it for them. I mean, I could be wrong. They might be like, yeah, it's making us tons of money, let's do it. But I feel like they don't want to alienate other audiences that they have. And I think they'll be cautious to add more Marvel-based content.
So how long until the Marvel channel comes out?
It isn't
I don't know.
Possible. Disney's gobbling up all the great IP, for better or worse. But I don't know. In this case, I'm enjoying it, and I might end up kicking myself in the future. But right now, I really like it. So here's some things that are going to be interesting. Apparently, that they're going to do a lot of wrap up on Tahiti and what's going on with Coulson. That's going to be pretty much evident relatively early on. I mean, as of now, we basically know what it is. We know what happened with Tahiti and how Coulson returned.
Right.
It doesn't officially tie into Guardians of the Galaxy, but there is the idea that the cosmos is grand and wide, and humanity sometimes has to do some dark things.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it will tie in with Sky and her background is apparently something that's going to be brought up relatively quickly and not necessarily completely resolved, but we're not looking at a plot line that's going to last the entire season. That's the rumor mill. That we will find out more about what's going on, because relatively quickly, we're going to meet Sky's father. Have you heard this?
No, I mean, I figured we were going to meet him since like the stinger at the end of last season showed the bloody hand, which is supposed to be her father, but I don't know any more details about it. What have they revealed?
The actor who's playing her father.
Oh no, who's the actor?
Kyle MacLachlan.
Really?
Otherwise known as Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks, or as Dwan, I can't pronounce it, from Dune. Oh God, the Savior. Oh, I forgot his name. I can't pronounce it. Blah 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 blah. That's not it. That's not how it is. But yes, he's a great actor. He's in a lot of awesome material that's kind of genre. And I don't know if Twin Peaks would count as genre. Dune maybe, but I'm really excited to see him in this show, and I am like already kind of like maybe a little too excited about what that can mean about Sky's parentage and how it connects with the cosmic universe. It may not at all. It may have nothing to do with it whatsoever. He may be some sort of mutant or whatever, or he may be Paul Atreides from Dune, whose official title I still can't remember. If only I had some spice. If you know, why don't you leave a comment in this Google Plus Hangout or a comment on the video, and we will send you a T-shirt, one of our old T-shirts. All right. So what else have we got? There's a lot of talk about what's going to happen with everyone's favorite double agent, Grant. We don't know what's going on. I've heard people saying Taskmaster for no other reason than please.
Yeah, they're just it's mostly just a wish. I mean, it would be really cool, but I don't think there's been really any solid details released about what Ward's role in the season's going to be.
Right.
He's in it. He's a series regular. That's all I know.
Which I'm very excited by. There's a lot of different ways they could do that, including just making him like the villain font, where they just keep going to him in his cell and interviewing him, or something. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully they don't ruin it, but it'd be hard to. A lot of the setup they've done has proven to me that they care about the stories they're developing.
Yeah, and as a series regular, he doesn't need to be in every episode as a series regular, just enough that he's in enough episodes that paying him individually for each episode isn't profitable.
Right. That's a good point. I didn't even think of it that way. We're also going to see, apparently, Mockingbird is going to be on the show. Obviously, we've got Dum Dum Dugan and a lot of the Howling Commandos, but that's more of a... I'm assuming that's going to be exclusively an Agent Carter thing.
I think in episode 1 of Agent S.H.I.E.L.D., there is going to be like a little flashback sequence kind of to promote Agent Carter as well. With Coulson researching the history of S.H.I.E.L.D., now that he's director, he decides to take a look back and see how to run things right. And I think that's going to transition to a short flashback / promotion for Agent Carter.
On the villain front, there's apparently we are going to get Absorbing Man, who was kind of in a Hulk movie, the first Ang Lee Hulk. It's not going to be the same character, but it's basically the same. Graviton might be back, and Blizzard, who was one of the characters that was sort of sideways introduced. I think a big issue with season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was that very few people got their code names. And
right.
Even Deathlock, it was kind of hard for them to do it, and there was still that kind of tongue-in-cheek, do we have to call him by that? In a show where like double agents are everywhere, just give people Hulk names. Give people their code names. I don't think it's a problem, and I think people would stop complaining if they just knew who they were and could look up the wiki or the Comic Vine article. Here's the one thing I really want to talk to you as we're probably getting ready to wrap up the show.
Okay.
There are no Marvel movies scheduled during this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Correct.
To be a Winter Soldier.
Right.
What do you guys think that's going to? How do you think that's going to affect the show? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What?
I think it's a good thing only because there are a lot of other Marvel things. So you've got 2 shows, right? 2 ABC shows, S.H.I.E.L.D., Peggy Carter, which I think both are going to have probably a lot of play and connection to each other. Even if they're not direct, we may see things that, I feel like we may see things, the way they're setting it up, I feel like Coulson's going to stumble on something. I think they're going to do this really cool. Here's what I think, or I really hope they're going to do. And I'm going to set myself up for disappointed. What they're going to do is Coulson's going to stumble on something, and they're going to investigate it, and they're going to cut in the middle. And then we're going to go back, and we're going to end up seeing the origin of that thing in Peggy Carter. And they're going to, quote-unquote, defeat it, finish it, end it, whatever. But then Coulson's going to realize that's what it is, and then we're going to finish up with Coulson and his team, because Peggy Carter will run its entirety in between the 2. Right. And then I think we might also have some play with Daredevil in there, which will probably premiere right around the time Shield is ending.
Daredevil voice. My help! No, I don't think that's what it's gonna sound like.
I'm Daredevil.
There's Ben Affleck again. That's interesting. All right.
I could be totally wrong, but
yeah,
James is that's my dream layout for this.
Matt, what do you? The same question to you. What do you think not having a Marvel movie will do?
I also think it's a good idea. I feel like now that they're not going to have to run into a situation they did with season one, where they're kind of waiting for Winter Soldier to come in. Like this season, their story is completely their own story, and I think it's a really good opportunity for the show to maybe have its chance to establish something in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that might be referenced in one of the future movies. I know, like they've been taking a lot from Thor, Captain America, all that kind of stuff. But it'd be really neat if something from the television series is something that starts there, has an effect for what's coming up. So kind of maybe what's going with James said, something like that situation, or maybe something completely different.
All right. I like both those points, and I don't want to discount them, but I think it's bad. I actually think,
Yep.
well, I mean, I think it's potentially bad. I feel like, Matt, you made a great argument where the new show won't necessarily have to wait. This new season won't have to wait for like a pace car of the next movie to come out, and that is especially good. But there was a huge bump that the show got from the movie, and as much as I agree with you, James, that these connections with the other material, the extra fictional material, is good. I think the one thing that we miss is that movies are really, really popular. So movies make millions of dollars and millions of people see them. Yeah. But TV shows, no matter how popular they are, they have problems competing with a film. So having a major motion picture be a tie-in with your TV show, super beneficial. Having another TV show be a tie-in with your TV show, I'm not as convinced, especially when one of those shows is airing during your show, and one of them is aired on Netflix. I'm worried that it's not going to be enough of a boost.
Something to point out. I know you talk about it getting a boost as far as the movie was concerned, and it's certainly a boost in buzz, maybe, but it only mildly translated to a boost in ratings.
But at the start of the show, we talked about how during this during the hiatus, during the summer break, ratings did. I think more people are aware of the show. I'm not exactly sure how we quantify that, but a lot more people seem to be aware of it from basically their friends screaming at them, saying, "No, it got better. You really need to see it." Even though, for the record, I do not think it was that bad. I don't even think it. I'm not even saying that bad. I think it was good, but I could see why some people had some problems, and then those problems were destroyed. All right, so we're needless to say, we're all excited. This Tuesday it'll premiere, luckily at 9 o'clock, so it won't have to deal with a rating competition against the Non-Pro network. And yeah, I for one am extremely excited. What do you guys think is going to happen first? First fatality. Who do you think is going to die? Let's just end this in the darkest way possible. Come on, who do you think is going to die first? You know who it is. I know who it is.
Oh, Eric?
Yeah, it's going to be Fitz.
Oh, Fitz?
I think Fitz isn't going to make it.
We'll see.
I don't know. Just something about you guys got borrowed time.
I think
too cute.
I think Eric, Patton Oswalt's character is going to become the Kenny of
I would appreciate that. All right, I'm okay with that. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody here at the TV party. We encourage you to watch Agents of the Shield. Join us next Sunday at a reasonable hour when we're going to talk about the first episode. Very excited, and talk to you guys later. Bye.
Good night.
Night.